Welcome back! Today's explainer is all about decoding a piece of tech you hear about constantly, but maybe haven't fully dug into, the VPN. We're going to completely demystify what this thing actually is, how it works behind the scenes, and most importantly, how it puts you back in the driver's seat of your online privacy. Let's get right into it. Think about your daily internet data for a second. Your emails, your search history, your passwords. Right now on the traditional internet, sending that data is literally like dropping a postcard into a totally transparent public mailbox. Anyone walking by can just read it. We're talking nosy neighbors, your internet service provider, or, that opportunistic hacker sipping a latte on the same coffee shop Wi-Fi. So the real question we have to ask ourselves is, who exactly is reading your digital mail right now?
Well, that brings us to the fix. Let's just cut through the jargon right away. VPN stands for Virtual Private Network. At its core, it's basically the digital equivalent of a hyper-secure private courier service. Instead of sending that exposed public postcard, a VPN takes your message, locks it up tight in a secure box, and drives it through a private tunnel right over the inherently insecure public internet.
So, here is our roadmap for today's explainer. We'll cover what is a VPN, how the tunnel works, the benefits versus the risks, a quick look at OpenVPN versus WireGuard protocols, and finally, choosing your provider.
All right, part 1. What is a VPN? Or, as we like to call it, the secret post office. Think of it like this. You are the sender, the VPN client. Instead of tossing your message into that totally vulnerable public mailbox where anyone can snoop, you request a top-secret delivery. You hand your letter over to the postmaster, which is the VPN server. This postmaster authenticates you, takes your original letter, locks it inside a heavily armored canister, and shoots it through a fortified, glowing, secure tube. That tube is your connection, and it's only when that canister reaches the heavily guarded village at the end, your final destination, that it's finally unlocked and safely read. It's really the perfect way to visualize how a secure courier shields your stuff.
Moving right along to part 2, let's actually look at how this tunnel works. If we break the whole process down, there are 3 fundamental steps happening in literal milliseconds. Step 1 is encryption. The VPN scrambles your data into totally unreadable gibberish. So even if somebody intercepts it, there's absolutely no way they can read it without the decryption key. Step 2 is IP masking. Your actual IP address, the one that gives away your physical location, is completely hidden and swapped out for a new one assigned by the VPN server. And step 3 is tunneling, which is the secure routing of your internet traffic straight through to that server. The second you hit connect, your VPN app and the server do this rapid-fire digital handshake to authenticate and lock in their security rules. This creates an encrypted tunnel that acts like an armored pipe, and it is actively deflecting threats. It bounces off ISP snooping, it blocks Wi-Fi hackers, and it shields you from government surveillance. Your data is fully encapsulated inside. Basically, the original data packet is wrapped up tightly with new headers, safely riding inside the tunnel until the server eventually decrypts it and sends it out to the web. To really grasp how deep this encryption goes, you can compare a standard TLS or SSL handshake to the broader VPN tunnel itself. In a standard handshake, the client and server exchange certificates and initial keys just to prove they are who they say they are, and then they encrypt the data that follows. But with a broader VPN tunnel, the original data payload is essentially swallowed whole, encrypted, and locked away. The tunnel itself becomes the secure pathway. It's a much more comprehensive wrapper around your entire connection. Okay, part 3. Let's weigh the benefits versus the risks.
There is a blindingly obvious contrast here when you look at the data. On a traditional internet connection, your data protection, privacy, and security? Universally low. You are completely exposed because your data travels straight through your ISP servers with zero extra encryption. But with a VPN, data protection, privacy, and security all shoot up to high. You're basically trading a free but incredibly vulnerable connection for an encrypted tunnel that drastically shrinks your digital footprint. But hey, we have to stay totally objective here. VPNs are definitely not flawless, and there are absolutely risks you need to watch out for. Number 1, shady logging policies. If a provider keeps logs of what you do, that totally defeats the purpose of having privacy in the first place, right? Number 2, you really need to be incredibly wary of free VPNs. Our sources point out that free or low-quality services might actually inject malware or just sell your data to make a quick buck. And finally, keep an eye out for DNS leaks. That's when your internet requests accidentally bypass the VPN tunnel and expose your location right back to your ISP.
Which brings us to part 4, OpenVPN and WireGuard protocols.
These are the two biggest names you're going to run into when it comes to the courier vehicles transporting your data. OpenVPN is widely considered the absolute gold standard. It's battle-tested, highly secure, and incredibly robust. The catch? Because it's so complex, it can be a little slower and a bit trickier to set up. Then in the other corner, we have WireGuard. This is the modern challenger. It is blazing fast, super efficient, and has a much simpler, leaner design. The only real downside is that it's newer, meaning it hasn't had decades of rigorous security audits quite like OpenVPN has. Honestly, both are fantastic choices. It just depends on whether your top priority is maximum time-tested security or bleeding-edge speed.
Finally, Part 5. Choosing your VPN provider.
When you're shopping around, you have to know your absolute deal breakers. First, demand a strict no-logs policy, ideally one that's been audited by an independent third party. Second, look for AES 256 encryption. That is the current industry gold standard for locking things down. Third, and I cannot stress this enough, you need a kill switch. If your VPN connection drops for even a split second, the kill switch instantly severs your internet connection so your data doesn't accidentally spill out into the open. And lastly, make sure they guarantee DNS leak protection.
Based on our sources, there are a few notable providers that consistently check these boxes. NordVPN is highly rated for strong security and a massive network of servers. ExpressVPN is known for excellent speeds and being really user-friendly. Surfshark is a solid, affordable choice that actually lets you have unlimited simultaneous connections. And then there's ProtonVPN, which is a favorite for users who are extremely focused on strict, uncompromising privacy. The right one for you really just depends on your specific balance of speed, price, and privacy needs.
Now, a super quick reality check on managing expectations. Because a VPN is doing the heavy lifting of encrypting and routing your data to servers all over the globe, it does take some processing power. But here's the good news. If you go with a high-quality provider, you should only see a really minor 1 to 5% drop in your internet speed. That is a virtually unnoticeable trade-off for a massive upgrade in your security.
To wrap up this explainer, I really want to leave you with a crucial takeaway directly from the source material. A VPN is a remarkably powerful tool, but let's be clear, it is not a silver bullet for all online security. It's not going to stop you from falling for a phishing scam, and it definitely won't block viruses if you accidentally download malicious files. But for protecting your data from eavesdroppers, bypassing restrictions, and masking your digital footprint, it is an absolute game changer. So, armed with all this knowledge, are you ready to take back your digital privacy? Thanks so much for joining me to decode this incredible tech today, and keep on learning.